Okay, let's go here. Upcoming. It says I'm gonna be live at 9:16. That's me right there, but I don't see anything. All right, there I am. Yep, I'm there. I'm just delayed. Let's see if anybody shows up. I trying to figure out how I could read my comments. Hello. I am practicing to see if I can get a live going for next week, and I screwed up the first one. So I'm just going to hang out and see if anybody wants to talk and see how this thing goes. And next Wednesday at 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock, I'm going to do a live and a knife giveaway and see what I come up with. I still hadn't went and got them, but I'm working on it. Let me see if I can get. You'd think if you bought the same brand of phone and tablet that the volume button would be, they'd be lined up with the same thing, but not so. Apparently Samsung thinks it's a good idea to make it hard on people. But what a day. What a day we've had. I slept in some. I actually slept in. I have a lot of days where I can't sleep all night. And so this week, those 2 days in a row, I didn't sleep any. And so I slept all day one day. But I actually went to bed last night after trying to work on getting a shop up and trying to get merchandising done for Bulldog Smith Farms with my cute little bulldog and everything, and try to get some stuff up that I could sell to make a little bit of money to help with giveaways and stuff. The more money I bring in, the more money that I can buy knives with and stuff. Because I'm not rich. I'm just a poor old country boy. Matter of fact, I'm a disabled veteran, and so I make a check. You know what I'm saying? And hello, how are you doing? Corey Collins, hello. Shots for days. Jesus is king. No doubt, my brother. No doubt. We had a day, didn't we? With all that went on over in Iran and the prophetic implications that has. How do you go live? I'm finding that out right now. I'm going to do a live knife giveaway on Wednesday, so I thought I better go try this out first. And so I got it going, and then it shut off on me, and I had to start it 3 times before I got it going. But you go on your page, go at the bottom where you can create a short or whatever, and there's this little button there that says go live. But I have another channel called Danny Link's Calling that has all my Bible study stuff and Christian stuff over there, and it won't let me go live over there yet. I guess maybe you have to have so many subscribers or so many hours, watch hours maybe, I don't know. But it won't let me go live over there quite yet. So I'm gonna watch. and I'll probably Google, hey, what's the deal? Because I would have went live on there today with everything that was going on in Iran. God bless America, no doubt. Yep, that I love. I was a Marine, so I know exactly. Um, so let's see. Go to the bottom of the sheet. Yeah, somebody's telling you it's 500,000 a year. Woohoo! uh, yep, just press live. Um, and it asks you what the audience is and if it's for children, which it has to be no, because if it is, there's all kind of strict rules, which I'm thankful for, by the way. Kids are exposed to way too much these days as it is. But I was saying, I have this kind of EDC knife channel where we talk about knives and sharpening and knife steels and history and all that kind of stuff. But I kind of am up to talk about anything. I have another channel where I try to keep faith and politics over there. Let me say that differently. I keep faith everywhere. But you know, I don't. I like to let people have a place just to have a good time, and you know, everybody's welcome here, everybody's welcome there, but people don't feel welcome if you think things that they disagree with, and I don't think it should be that way. So over there, I'm trying to create a place where people can come together and reason and um, um, and discuss things the way we used to before Facebook got everybody screaming and yelling at each other. I wonder if I hit that to review it. Potentially inappropriate messages are held for review. Okay, I got it. I don't know what I do about it, but it says it's held for review. Okay. My dad was in the army in Afghanistan. Wow. That was not fun. That was not a fun place over there. Brantley Party. That was not fun over there, brother. Can I say this? I don't wish for any of our guys to have to go and face the horrible stuff that you face in war and bring back with you. And it affects you for the rest of your life. And I don't wish that on nobody. However, we sign up to go, you know, protect our country and sometimes just help other people. Certainly, if the people over there are a danger to us here and better to contain them there, we can all disagree on how you do that and if you do it and if you go and if you don't go and when you go and when you don't go. I'm happy for the people in Iran. I hope that we do enough to make them room to take back their country and their freedom. It's going to be on them to do it, though. You can't give people freedom. You've got to earn it. We had to earn it, right? But nonetheless, it's hard. It's hard. And these decisions are big and hard decisions, and you know, so. But I figure I will talk about knives and all that kind of stuff on here, and anything that anybody wants to talk about. I figure people have probably got enough of the politics today, and a whole bunch of people jumped off, so I imagine they have. They've probably heard enough about Iran today, and I didn't. I didn't get on here early and talk about all that stuff, so imagine people have heard enough about it. Um, this channel I typically keep for fun and knives and hanging out, and I'm doing my first live next Wednesday, so I thought I would just come practice and see how it went. And most people that subscribed to me didn't know I was coming on here just at the last minute, because it was just a last minute thing. But they know next Wednesday at 6 o'clock I'm going to be doing a knife giveaway. And we'll see. You know, these things start out slow. I was in the music business for a long time. I'm not a spring chicken anymore. And I was in the music business most of my life. And what is this? He had to replace a plate. Once got a stray. Oh, that's not good. Wow. Yeah, that's not fun. Yep. Them things. They come from everywhere. They're something else. But yeah, I figure that this whole world is full of trouble today. It always has been. I reckon it always will be. It's how old is your dad? He was in Afghanistan. It's crazy how time passes. Before you know it, you're 18 one day, and the next thing you know, you're 50. My pop told me that. We were feeding cows one day when I was about 12, and I couldn't imagine how time would fly that fast. We were in his truck one day. All my memories of my pop are either in his truck or on the farm. And we were in the truck, and they were talking on the radio about an eclipse that was about to happen. And I was about 10. And they said, the next eclipse we have is going to be in like 2017, something like that. 2016 or something. And I remember counting up and going, I'll be 50 years old then. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. And my pop said, don't blink your eye. It'll be here before you know it. And ooh, was he right? He was so right. He told me to not be like my girl cousins that were wanting to hurry up and get to be 18, and then they'd want to be 21, and then when they got about 27, they'd want to be 16 again. And he said, just be happy the time that you're living in. Be happy with where you are right at the moment and what God's got for you right now, what life has for you. 34. Went in when he was 19. Wow. Yeah, I went in when I was 18. Went in the Marine Corps when I was 18. I actually joined when I was still in high school. And I was a straight A student and passed the ASVABs like flying colors. They were all trying to get me, and I should have went. I did ROTC, Air Force ROTC, but I wanted to be a Marine, and I wanted to be a copter pilot, but I wanted to go and be a rifleman first because my dad was awesome, and I was an amazing shot already by then and could make a knife shave by the time I was 12. And so I wanted to go be a real Marine, and then move over. And I went all around the world, and I got hurt so bad that that the choice was take a desk job or get out, and so I got out. I got hurt pretty bad in the Philippines when that country was coming apart at the seams, and they were having riots in the streets and terrorism and all kinds of stuff going on. But but I was just a kid. I remember I thought I was grown then. You think you're grown when you're in high school and 18, and I look at those pictures now and I'm like, look at that baby face. I was just a little kid. But I loved it and I hated it. I really enjoyed it. I loved all the weaponry, and I shot expert in rifle. We didn't have to qualify in pistol, but I said, no, I want to. And so they let me. And I said, I want you to hand me every weapon we've got and let me qualify in it, and let me fire it, and let me use it. And so they did. They let me mess with everything. And rocket propelled grenades and all kind of stuff that was just a ball when you're 18. Yeah, he dropped out and Mom had you, and he needed a job and a degree. What kind of degree did he get? Because they messed me over on a degree. I was going to go and get a kind of almost a triple degree. I wanted to get a degree in wildlife biology for the Game Commission and wildlife art, and because that's what I always did, and history. And I either was going to try to be a wildlife biologist for the Game Commission, a wildlife biologist, or a history teacher. And because in Florida in those days, I'm from South Florida originally, in those days, it was dang near impossible to get a job at the Game Commission. It really expanded in the years after I kind of was past that. But at the time, somebody had to die or retire for you to get a job. And so it was a lot of older guys doing it. And here now, I watch these shows about game wardens, and they saw these young people doing it. And it was not that way back then. It was guys that were retired. They'd been doing it for a long time, most of them. All of them then I knew that I had personal, relationships with. One of them was a taxidermist in our town in West Palm Beach, and helped me become a taxidermist. I did taxidermy for a long time too. I've lived about 8 lives. I was a musician, traveled all over, touring and playing with bands like Leonard Skinner and Marshall Tucker and Molly Hatchet and 38 Special, and opening for them, and I worked in retail for a long time, and did taxidermy, hunted, fished, shot archery semi-pro, and I don't know how I did all that stuff in the time that I did it in. I was in a hurry, and I was non-stop, pedal to the metal back then, and I really didn't think about why, but I was either doing 3 jobs or I was working, 60 or 70 hours a week, and I was working 50, 60 hours a week and spending that much time on my band, because I didn't just play in the band, I promoted it, booked it, publicized it, did all of our art, and album covers and backdrops, and I wore a lot of hats on stage and off stage. Literally and figuratively. It's Florida's cool, and And it's not. It's so crowded now. My dad started trying to get us out of there in the 70s. But Brantley said he wants to go to Florida. It's a cool place. Go visit Florida. And I don't call North Florida, like Panama City and stuff, I don't call that Florida. That's South Alabama. It is part of Florida. And I actually grew up in Madison, Florida, which is up in North Florida, right close to the Georgia line on my pop's farm. But I was born in West Palm, lived there till second grade, then went back south to Sebring in seventh grade, back to West Palm in ninth grade, to Sebastian in 10th grade, back to West Palm in 11th grade, and my parents were moving back to Sebastian my senior year, and I said, can I stay with my granny and just finish my senior year? So I did. And actually, she was living with her mom, my great-granny, so I was pretty much a bachelor my whole senior year. And my granny tried to keep an eye on me over there all the time. Me and my girlfriend. It didn't work. I was a heathen. There's things I miss about Florida. Snook fishing. I really miss snook fishing. Just being close to like salt water, the smell of salt water and the breeze, and I didn't spend a lot of time like going to the beach, and I was fishing at the beach or the inlet or something like that, or the intercoastal. And you have all this freshwater there too, so it was like, do I go saltwater fishing or freshwater fishing? Well, what's biting? If y'all call them crappie in Alabama, up here they call them crappie, but down in Florida we call them speckled perch. And so in January, February, maybe December, really it doesn't really get cold down there good until January, February. So when it gets real cold, that's when they come up out of the deep holes and bite. Oh, going deep sea fishing, like up on the Panhandle up there, like in the Gulf. It's awesome. I love it. I want to go with you. We used to go every year, me and my wife. We used to go to the Gulf every year, and I'd go fishing. She'd set on the beach. I'd go get somebody to take me fishing. And I've got a buddy down there that has a boat, so I really like to go about 1st of November, because that's when those big old bull red drum come in. Awesome time. But there's never a bad time fishing. Even if you ain't catching nothing, it's still fun. Especially if you're in salt water. In Alaska, you've been a guide for 20 years in Alaska. Really, Cliff? I didn't know that, Cliff. Man, you are the man. We got to exchange emails and stuff, because that's one of my dream trips. And me and my wife are talking about going there, like one of our trips. And of course, if I go anywhere, I got to go fishing. I want to go hunting, but I got to go fishing. So now that I live up in North Alabama, Georgia and North Carolina and Tennessee are right there. And so the Georgia mountains are right over, just a few hours away, and trout. You'd think we'd have them here, but we don't. We don't have those cold streams they have in the mountains over there. We have mountains here, but they have, like rocky, steep mountains, and we've got more big mountains over here, like west of Chattanooga. And so it's warm water over here, Bass, Lake Gunnersville, all that stuff. Over there, they have those beautiful, cold running streams, and I have caught some giant trout over there. But I go with guides, so I don't have to, it's one thing if you live somewhere to just go fish and try to figure it out, and, but if you've got 3 days somewhere a week, I mean, you know, it's like trying to go hunt somewhere and you've never been, you don't know anything about it. You can do it, but if you really want to be successful, it's a lot easier to go with somebody that knows the lay of the land, Make custom fishing gear, man. You guide fresh water. Guided fresh water. So up there, that's trout, but salmon and no, well, yeah, salmon run up the streams and stuff, right? Salmon and steelhead and trout and I'm trying to think of something else, but I can't. Because most of my experience with that is from television. Going to Alaska next year. Man, ain't that a coincidence? Cliff Brantley's going to Alaska next year. You need to meet up with him. I know it's like, oh, he's going to Alaska, as if that's like, a 3 square mile area. That's a big old place, ain't it? It's like it's like I'm going to the South. Not I'm going to Florida or even Alabama or something. No, I'm going to the South. There's a giant area. Custom fishing gear. So like fly rod kind of fishing gear, or like spinning rods and bait casters, that kind of stuff. Rainbows, steelhead, Arctic, yeah, grayling. Is that Arctic char? Dolly Varden, Arctic char, there we go, the pike. This is crazy, and I don't know if it's even, I don't know, but I've always seen pike as like a northern thing, right? And I grew up in North Florida, like just south of the Georgia line, like 8 miles from the Georgia line. And we didn't have pike. Not that I know of. Never seen one, except one time when I was a little kid playing in the creek and caught a baby pike. Just a little baby one, about that big. And of course that thing went home and went in my fish tank. But I never saw one, never caught one. And that creek went under the road, and it came out of a swamp on our property and went into a little swamp on our neighbor's property. They had kids my same age, and so I had friends right next door. Like, we had 100 acres that way, and they had 100 acres that way, but our houses were pretty much, there was a road that went up the middle, and the houses were right there. They built them during the Depression. That whole area, I did not know that. I've been learning a lot about where I grew up lately, and they built that area to encourage people to come farm it and build jobs and work and food growing during the Depression. And they built those houses, and you could come live there as long as you farmed it. And so a lot of families left the factory towns and stuff and went there and farmed. And then in later years, a lot of them went, when factory jobs and stuff revved back up, they went back home. And so it left land to buy, and people bought the land up the farm. And my friends next door, their dad owned that property, and then a few miles from us, we could ride bikes there, but it was a long way, owned several 100 acres. I don't even know how much. It was a lot of land. Their pond was probably 100 acres. And we'd go dove hunting and stuff over there and bale hay. when you're 12 and a bale of hay as heavy as you are, and you're trying to lift it above your head to a trailer, that was hard work. But hey, when I was about 12 or about 13 maybe, and they paid us $3.33 an hour. That was a lot of money. I bought a Zebco reel with that. Oh man, a bear rug, that would be so awesome. I I had a bear rug most of my life. My dad killed a bear in Florida, in North Florida, a black bear. That was a gigantic black bear. Had scars you could lay your hand in, and one of his teeth was broke off. His face was all scarred up. So I had bear head on the wall and the bear skin all growing up. And eventually, between dogs and I'll pee on it and just stuff over the years, it started to sit and grating. Rainbows. Spinners, flies, spoons, plastics. Cool. Yeah, it's, when you come from like Florida and you think of fly fishing, you just think fly fishing. When you think of trout fishing, you think fly fishing. So I was grown before I realized that people actually caught trout and stuff like that with spinners and stuff that, we use for catching brim and crappie and stuff, and jigs, rubber jigs and stuff. Wow. Yeah. I I got pretty good at fly fishing there for a while when I was doing it all the time, and you know, I had to learn how to tie and do all that stuff because I'd never done it growing up, and now that I haven't done it for quite a few years, it would be hard. I'd have to relearn because my health just got so bad that I couldn't do anything. The last couple times I went fly fishing, the guy literally had to hold onto the back of my suspenders. I was so weak. I'm wading off in the creek and he's having to hold the back of my suspenders because I was just unstable. I didn't know then too, part of my instability was my ankle was giving away on me, and it eventually just turned, and now it's all fused, so my foot won't. I have to have zippers on the back of my boots. But I at the time I just thought it was my balance and stuff, but now looking back, it was that I had gotten pretty weak from heart attacks, not heart attacks, but congestive heart failure, and my diabetes was terrible, out of control because I worked 100 and I never slept for like 20 years. I didn't sleep hardly ever, just 3-4 days at a time with no sleep, then only just 2 or 3 hours of sleep and go again. And them old guys told me I was breaking my body, and I thought I was Superman. I tell people I thought I was the Man of Steel, but I was really made of plastic. I broke my body, and I've been paying for that for. Well, it started in 2006. I almost died about a month before my daughter was born, and she's 19 now, and did okay there for a while. And then in 2017, my wife passed away, and my body was already. I had spent the winter before, couldn't hardly get out of bed, so then she died, and it got real rough after that, and then the Lord sent me a wonderful wife and a helpmate to help me come back, and found a good team of doctors. And now my best friend's a preacher, Joel, and I kind of am more of a teacher. And he says that nothing can kill me. He said it'll make you want to die. I wish you were dead, but it won't. It can't kill you. He said it'll be me and the last roach fighting over the last Twinkie. 50,000 gallon pond in the backyard. Lord have mercy. that I don't know about you, but I would have that thing slam covered over in fish, and I'd be out there every day just catching them and releasing them, catching them and releasing them, catching some and eating them. Oh, a lot of pike. Where are you at, Brantley? Good evening, peeps. Hey, Miss Kelly's Mishmash. We're just hanging out and talking. I thought I would do a dry run practice, and I'm glad I did because it took me 3 tries to get it right. Kelly Mishmash makes all things paracord. And if you look her up, it's Kelly's Mishmash on just look up Kelly's Mishmash on YouTube, right? She makes monkey fist, lanyards, just anything you can think of, and the other stuff too, but all kinds of paracord stuff. And in the knife community, she's our angel of swag for paracord stuff. She sends stuff out to all the content creators to give away and put in giveaways. Ain't that cool? That's called charity. That's called a charitable heart. She's awesome. And her stuff is, I mean, crazy, over the top. Like, I'm not a big paracord fan because most of it I've ever seen was like, you know, it's okay. Because, you know, it's like most people, you just go, I can do that. And you start messing with it. And so most of it's not great. But her stuff is next level. And I learned something the other day I didn't know. That one of the reasons for that is because she uses like the top American-made paracord. And I did not know there was a difference. Hello. Let's see who we got saying hello. Greg Vanderlip. Hey man, what's going on? I'm so glad. I'm gonna have to write names down because I'm so terrible about names, just for posterity, because I hear like Chris, Professional Dad, and people when you were one of the OGs, you were on my channel, you were one of the very first people, and I want to be able to remember that. And you guys are like OGs. Especially since I only started doing this like 2 months ago. And so I can't remember exactly right now. I was up to like 153 subs, I think, last I checked. So I don't think that's doing too bad for a couple months, and nobody's ever heard of me except for you YouTube guys that know me from chats and, you know, comment sections. And I've made a lot of friends in the last year, and in the last 2 years for sure. Let's see. I want to catch up. Angel Kelly is an angel among demons. Yep. But I think there's a lot of, I don't know, they might be light demons. There's a lot of good guys in this community though, and cool girls too, like Kelly and Mo Patty and Brown Sugar. There's some great people. This community got me through a lot of hard times. Has a lot of catfish. Oh, a 30-pound catfish. I got a picture of a guy the other day with a catfish over his shoulder. That's a big one. I cannot remember. I don't want to say the wrong number because I can't remember exactly. But it was a giant catfish. Biggest catfish I've caught is about like that one you caught. But here in North Alabama and Nickajack Dams, Tennessee and stuff, they have gigantic catfish. The divers say there's catfish down there big enough to eat somebody. Yep. U.S. made paracord. Let's see, 157 in 2 years. But hey, if you don't post, I mean, you know what I'm saying. If you don't, you know, because it's just like, what do you want to do? You know, do you care? You know, I mean, is it a thing? You know, just and I am pretty much retired because my health and my body broke down and all, and so I got in such bad shape that I couldn't do anything, and was restricted to bed for a long time, and so then my wife made me this little room upstairs because we have stairs, and I could not go up and down the stairs. I crawled up the stairs because I refused to stay downstairs. So I put on knee pads and crawled up the stairs when I came back from the hospital and rehab. And so I needed something to do. And Chris, Professional Dad, says basically the same thing. He was just laying there, couldn't do anything, and watching YouTube, and started watching the Knife Center and Blade HQ and, you know, Metal Complex and Max Level and all that stuff. And I was like, man, I love knives. I've been a knife guy since I can remember. Some of my first memories are, I want my pop's knife. I want my dad's knife, you know. They're case knives. And so always had knives, always loved knives, always could sharpen like a pro. And so I thought, well, I've got a few knives. I'd collected a few case, you know, John Deere knives and some fixed blades and things, because, like, you know, a guy that lives close by. I was up here on a hunting trip in Alabama one time from Florida, and a local guy was at the flea market selling custom handmade knives, and so I bought one of his knives, things like that. But I collected stuff, but it was always a little of this, little of that. It was memories. I was collecting memories. Like, I bought this, I got a Kachina doll back here, and I bought it on an Indian reservation when I went out there. You know, I bought things that I would, when I look at it, I go, I was there. I was in Arizona. I've been everywhere. I've been to the Philippines, Okinawa, Hawaii, Alaska, Canada, 3 of the provinces of Canada, and all 50 states. And some of them a lot, over and over and over. Because I did music and traveled, and then I drove a truck. And that about killed me. I thought the drunks and drug addicts in the music business were going to kill me, because I was always sober, because Jesus got a hold of me when I was like 9. And so I was always the only sober person in the room. But the trucking got me. Because before, I worked all the time, either at work or in the band or shooting archery or hunting. I was always doing something, but at least I could sleep, you know, some. And in the truck, I just could never sleep. And you knew when you went to a company and they didn't hand you a log book, they handed you loose leaf logs. You knew what the deal was, because you can't count loose leaf logs, but they can count the pages in a log book. They're numbered. Let's see. Off the job, number 1 piece. Off to the job. Mr. Cliff's got to go to work. I hate that. I love it though, because work gives you purpose. And it's one reason I started doing this. I needed purpose. So I started collecting knives, watching YouTube, because of not being able to do anything, and collecting knives because it gave me something to think about, research, all these new steels, new companies, brands, you know. There's a whole new world of knives since I dove straight off into the working world, where at least for 30 years I'd never pick my head up. I just put my head down and worked. You know, I raised 3 stepchildren, and then my wife and I had a daughter, and then she passed away in 2017 when she was 40 from an aneurysm. And my daughter was 10 then, she's 19 now. So I worked a long time, really hard. And so I really didn't keep up with knives. So as you can imagine, a lot of you guys may have had the same experience. Brantley's in Michigan. That's where my ex-wife's from. And it's beautiful there. It is beautiful there. I've been many times. My stepson, my wife's son, lives up there now, close to Battle Creek. My best friend that I did the band with forever, Jerry, and we wrote on music, and we did that whole thing. His dad was a chief of police in Flint, Michigan when he was little, and then they moved to Florida, and then he grew up in Florida, and we met in high school. And I had always wanted to play guitar, and my parents were always broke. There was money for pot, but there was never money for a guitar. But they did, when I was 16, they bought me a guitar because I borrowed Jerry's little guitar that he had when he was little and played the heck out of that thing. And they finally said, I guess he's serious about it, and went and took me somewhere and asked me which of the guitars I had been looking at, and I told them, and they bought it for me. And it was used, of course, you know, and all, but I learned to play guitar. And my poems became lyrics, and Jerry was already writing songs, so we were off to the rodeo. Greg's in Battle Creek. Well, you're close to my son up there. I have to find out exactly where he does live. I haven't been yet. My wife goes to visit the little grandboy, and her other son lives in Maryland, right by Washington. He works in a agency up there, and but I want to go. I want to come up there, and there's a guy that makes fixed blades up there that I want to visit, and there's the guys that do all the customization that are up by the lake. Way of Knives. I want to go see their shop, and I thought on the way we could go to the Noah's Ark thing in Kentucky, and the Creation Museum, and that would lead us right by River's Edge Cutlery. I already got it planned out, and I have no idea when we'll be able to go, because my father-in-law has had to move in with us. He has Alzheimer's, and he's a good old guy, preacher his whole life, and he's a really good guy, and he's slipping away, you know, little fast, pretty fast. Just in 3 months, he's declined a good bit. So my wife, I'm doing this stuff and try to let her spend as much time with him as she can, and she really can't concentrate on anything but him, and so it's a little hard on me to be in the room all the time, because you know, you can't even expect, if you need to say something, that she can take her attention and actually take her attention off of him for a second and actually put it on you without having to go back to him, because it's just is what it is, you know. And he needs her, you know. And I'm grown, you know. So I really enjoy my friends on YouTube, and I watch a lot of lives and stuff. Y'all are having a good conversation. I'm glad. because that is what kept me in this whole thing. Knives are cool. I love the knives, and I spend way too much money on them, but they're coming in handy to um, to review and everything. And I really do love they are cool. Um, it's a struggle for me as a Christian to not make them little idols and polish them all the time and shine my idol up and worship it, you know. But but I do love the people because unknowingly, you know, these guys were helping me in times when I was, you know, it gets real dark when you can't get out of bed, you can't do anything. You're used to being a go-getter and you just can't. You can't do anything. You may never be able to do anything. It can get dark on you. But they lifted my spirits and were encouraging. Yep, they all do. If you live long enough, you will get, you know. If you live long enough, you'll go through stuff, you know. I'm trying to tell my daughter this. She's 19 and she don't get it. She seems to have the opinion that everything's supposed to be easy, and none of it's easy. Who are we looking up? Look up Justin Judge. He is my uncle. Oh, I will look him up. Justin Judd with a JG. No, Judge. I will look him up. I've been on here about an hour, little less because it clicked off on me a couple times, but I thought next week or Wednesday, well that is next week I guess. I thought I would do 2 hours because I don't want to. For one thing, I don't want to go on so early that guys ain't home from work, but it's a little hard because there's so many shows, and I don't want to go on so late that guys that gotta work, because I'm a working guy, so you know I've been a working guy my whole life, so I know guys got to get up early, and if you work in factory towns, sometimes you work at night, you know, but I would like to make it to where it's convenient for people and that they don't have to sit around for 4 or 5 hours hoping somebody will give them something. And so I kind of want to get on and chat a little bit and do a giveaway and then hang out for a while with the people that want to hang out, and the people that just came to try to get something free can go. You know, it's fine. And you know, watch hours and trying to drag out watch hours and all that stuff. I know maybe that's important to people, but I don't need to do this. The money would help. Any money would help. Any money would help. Especially now I'm like, I'm going to be giving stuff away that I really can't afford to buy. But I'm a really good deal hunter too. So I had to learn how to be a deal hunter when I got on disability. There's only so much money, so I never asked for a veteran's discount in my life until that happened. But now I'm hunting discounts all the time. Broke it back in 2 places, 2020, and I was paralyzed for 14 months through Christ's grace. Wow, I can walk again. Brother Cliff, that's a miracle, my brother. I've seen a few of them in my life. I have seen a few miracles. I should not be here. I'm telling y'all, I should not be here. I have almost died 6 times. And I'm talking about, you know, doctors going, yeah, he's out of here. Me, there was one day I was texting people like, Jesus loves you, bye. At least that's what I thought I was texting them. After the fact, they were like, you texted me. Hey, you know, I was out of here. I was leaving this place, and my wife had went to work, and my kidneys had shut down, and antibiotics. I had sepsis, and antibiotics had shut my kidneys down. She went to work. I was fine when she went to work, and I was just slipping away, and something told her something went right, and she left work and just came home and found me in bad shape and got me in the car and took me to the hospital. I had just got back from the hospital. They had to come get me on a gurney and take me down the stairs the first time. I couldn't stand up. I'd get out of bed and just fall out, and try to get out of bed, and I'd just crumble on the floor. And it just got worse and worse and worse. And then I had surgery, and then that almost killed me. So that was 3 times like bam, bam, bam. And other times it was like once, 2 times together. You know, 1 time. That was like 3 times in a row, bam, bam, bam. And so where I normally I would go, I'm going to do projects. I'm going to force myself to get out and do stuff. And then one of the times out, I'm going to start planting and gardening, and I'm going to learn everything I can about it, and I'm going to get out there and do it. Well, I couldn't bend over. I couldn't stand up much. I couldn't bend over to plant stuff, so I would sit on the ground and plant and scooch and plant and scooch. My wife's got pictures of me out there doing it. She was like, he's going to do it one way or another. And I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. But this time, it was a lot harder. It was 2.5 years of not being able to do much of nothing. I'm just now really getting where I'm kind of normal again and can get out if I want to, you know. Or I wouldn't be able to do this. I was not, you know, I couldn't focus enough to do something like this for a long time. But I'm back doing it, you know, and so I'm enjoying it. And it's, you know, it's all blessings. That's how I look at it, is every one of these things has been a blessing. Good, bad, hard, easy, you know, the cool things like people asking for your autograph. That was awesome. I loved it. I'm a ham, right? But I was, at the time, I was going, this can be over any minute. So enjoy it and love on people. So I'd be out front hugging people in line and taking pictures and stuff. And my buddy Jerry was an alcoholic and miserable with his life. And he'd be sitting in the, you know, alley backstage just miserable, and life sucks. He was always going to be better when we got to the next phase. But the next phase, he was still miserable. And he's doing a lot better now. A lot. He quit drinking years ago and went through some other addictive behaviors and stuff. But he's doing pretty good. He won't get on board with Jesus, but he's doing pretty good, and I'm proud of him. But it was rough for a long time. We would have made it the first time we worked up that hill, you know, and then he'd start drinking and go off the deep end, and he'd drag me back down that hill. And that after the fifth time I quit. The fifth time down that hill I quit. I said, I'm just not going to do this with you anymore. But I loved it. I didn't like being the only sober person in the room all the time. 10 minutes. I appreciate you, Brantley. I really do, brother. Yeah, I will. I'll go back through comments and look, because my memory. But I had a ball, and I got to meet my heroes, and some of them weren't nice, but most of them were. And even the ones that weren't so nice got nice once they got to know me. And I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. And it was kind of like the Marines. I had a love-hate relationship with it. But yeah, I think I'll just go 10:30, and if y'all want to jump off, just jump off, and I'll go talk to my wife. Well, she went to bed like an hour ago. But it was a cool experience, and I had big dreams. But you know what my dreams were? They weren't like getting rich and famous and having fancy cars. And it was, I want to make enough money to buy a ranch in Montana next to Hank Jr. and have like elk to hunt. That's what I would have spent my money on, was a big ranch. It wouldn't have been on drugs and mansions. It would have been on a big, beautiful log cabin on a ranch in Montana. And probably one in the Smokies somewhere, maybe one at the beach. maybe somewhere at the beach where I could go fishing. I am going to go live Wednesday at 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. and give away some knives and some swag. And I'm looking to get some little things to throw in there, but I don't know that I'll have them by then. So I may just have to hold them to the next week. I may not have them yet, but I'll at least have a knife or two to give away. I kind of figured I would maybe try to give people a choice. I probably won't be able to do that every week, but give people a choice in a modern kind of knife and a traditional knife. Like if I give one knife away, because I like them all. I like everything from Benchmade and Spyderco and all that stuff to traditional slip joints, and I like everything. If it's sharp, I like it. So, but I figure I think that might be cool. It's different. I don't see most people doing that. They're either do traditional stuff or they do modern stuff. And that, that may make people that only like one or the other not want to hang. There may be a reason people do that, but I like everything. So I figure I'll just show stuff I like, that I have. This is what I have. I have OTFs, I have Benchmades, and like this is a pick for traditional knives, and I had a McNeese Dixon, and I got a case laying right here. It's just stuff that I've been doing reviews on. This little SRM I got from Chris, Professional Dad. I won it from him a few weeks ago. Well, actually it was months ago, but I just reviewed it maybe last week. And I've got some automatics. This is a Ritter Hogue, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's carved carbon fiber, and it just shines like diamonds. I love that thing. My MagnaCut steel. And I've got laying right here a Three Rivers Manufacturing, one of their discontinued ones that they're not making now. And I love it because I love that blade shape and that belly. And I just love TRM. And if you ever dealt with them, the people, you'll love them because they're amazing. They're just the kindest people you ever met. Can you play my uncle's music before you and the live? I'll tell you what, if you'll send me some of his music, if it's allowed, I'll play it. But YouTube's really weird about dinging people for copyright infringement. So I don't know if they'll allow it. But if if you send me some, I can run it on, or I'll look him up, and I'll just like maybe do a little short and see if it'll let me play the music, But like even I don't understand, because some people I see doing like live knife shows, and they've got music playing in the background like on a radio, and they're fine. But then I see people doing like tool deal videos at Home Depot, and they're having to, or at Lowe's, and they start playing music and they have to cut the volume. Or they're somewhere, like I see guys all the time. I was just watching a guy talking about Iran, and he was playing a part of a protest, and there was music playing in the background, and he had to shut the volume down because he would get dinged for a copyright thing, because he was playing a video that there was music playing on a radio in the background. I mean, I get copyrights. Trust me, I get that the people that record music should be able to make money from it, because if you can't, it costs a lot of money to record. So you have to be able to make that back and make a living, or you won't be able to do it. But some of this stuff's just ridiculous. So I'm going to see if I can even play our music. And it's mine. I own it. But I don't know if they'll let me, because they won't know it's mine. I don't know. I'm going to find out. Because that maybe there's some trigger to, like, if it's a BMI, if BMI protected, then they scour everything to make sure somebody ain't playing a song they ain't supposed to play. I had a friend, I was thinking about buying his dairy bar and little restaurant, and he had started out doing music, and I said, man, I'll put bands in here and do music and stuff. And he was like, BMI will wear you out with the fees and the cost. And I'm like, for a band? And he said, yeah. He said, I'm not allowed to play music over my little speakers anymore. I mean, that's insane. If they find out for some reason that you're playing music in your place, then you get on their radar, then he couldn't even play music on his little radio. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, if it's possible, heck yeah, I'll see if it's good. I'm sure it is, or you'll be bringing it up. And my buddy that I played with all my life, he's recording right now, and I'm trying to work with them on some stuff, and see if I can help. And I'm going to see if I can get a hold of that and our old recordings, and just see if there's anything if I can use it, you know. But I don't know because YouTube's stupid. I am going to make another channel on Rumble because so that I see a lot of guys that they're like, okay, now I'm going to go to Rumble and talk about the stuff they won't let me talk about. So I think I may do that too, because you can play this over there and you can talk about stuff that YouTube is scared to death that somebody might you know, might cut somebody or something, or you know, if you look at something shaped like a gun, you might get hurt. If you say gun, I don't know. If you say, you know, nail gun, is that okay? I mean, I don't think so. Not with them. But I don't know. You know, I don't make a living off of YouTube, so. But I can. But man, imagine if you did spend 15 years growing an audience on YouTube, and this is your living, and you built YouTube for them, and then now they're demonetizing you because you talk about stuff they don't like. That ain't good. That ain't good. I mean, if people put in the work, they ought to be able to make money back, right? 10:27. The countdown is on. Do I have any cold steel? I'm looking at some. I have one. I have one cold steel, a fixed blade, and I'm looking at some because I found some for like 60% off. So I'm looking at some to put in a giveaway. And I like it. I was planning on buying. They had an 8010, and it was titanium, black titanium, and no, I don't think it was S30V. I think it was. I want to say it was Magna Cut. Maybe it was a limited edition, and I was going to buy it, and I was going to get a great deal on it too because of the, you know, veteran stuff. But stuff happened, and you know how it is, and next thing I knew, it was gone. But there is one that I found that's a limited edition of the, oh Lord, it's not one of the ADs, it's one of their small Recon, I think, maybe it's Recon, and it's awesome, and it's a pretty good deal on it. You played with Jelly Roll. Your ex got mad and walked away from you because you were playing with Jelly Roll? His life has changed, hasn't it? Oh, Jelly Roll's life has changed. That he lived the life that most everybody I knew lived in that thing. And now he's living more like the life that I lived in it. The older guys, I got along with the older guys, like Doug Gray, the singer for Marshall Tucker, because he, I mean, you know, he had done that, been there, done that. Ronnie and Johnny Van Zant, they were older, married, you know. All the guys at Skinner were kind of past most of that. Ricky Medlock, Doug Gray from Marshall Tucker was great because he didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't do drugs. He ate healthy. Just a really good guy, and taught me a lot of stuff, and taught me stuff that was coming and to be prepared for, and just cool, just a cool guy. Like, a nice guy, a helpful guy, you know. But the guys in 38 Special were pretty helpful. Um, um, and Ricky Medlock was helpful in Skinner, and so was Johnny. But the you know, Gary was my hero. Gary Rossington from Skinner was my hero growing up because I was just a little kid. I was 10 when the plane went down, but I remember seeing Gary Rossington on a fishing show when I was about 13, maybe, and he had this cool long hair and a beard, and he played this awesome Les Paul, and he liked to fish, and oh man, he was the man. And I had that story my whole life about Gary Rossington being my hero, and I love the way he plays. And so Ricky Medlock is the one that got me in a position where I could tell Gary Rossington my Gary Rossington story. And um, and uh, um, Gary was, it was kind of rough. People warned me about him that he would hurt my feelings, that he wasn't my hero, you know. But um, as he kind of got to know me, and I got to be around him more, the less drugs he was stopping the drugs. And when he was doing the drugs, he was not a nice guy. When he quit doing drugs, like just cold turkey quit doing drugs, he was really standoffish with people. Suddenly, I would get all these things like, I don't know if people will be comfortable with you in that area because of you don't do drugs, you know. And that became yeah, Dan's cool. Let him back. He doesn't do any of that stuff. So all those old friends that supplied the drugs weren't welcome anymore, and I was welcome, you know. So doing the right thing paid off by doing the right thing and not being involved in that stuff, but it also paid off in the long run, you know. So we will see you later, Brantley, and I'm about to get off of here too. I'm gonna get off of here, y'all, and go see what my wife is doing. I appreciate y'all for hanging out, and I'll be back next Wednesday. And if nobody else don't show up, then that'll be like 4 or 5 people trying to win a knife. It'll be awesome. Bye. Why? It won't stop. I'll have to get a little bit to stop it. What?